Oh, hi, I'm Sin Bolsta. I first did some caregiving quite a long time ago when my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I wasn't actually living in the state at the time, but I came home as much as possible. In fact, when he first went into Country Manor, I was home for 10 months, and Mom and I would see him every day, and then when I went back and forth, I'd come for a month or so. But she did, all the heavy lifting. She was out there every day feeding him lunch. So it's rather ironic that 17 years later, after losing my dad, I've come home now from Portland, Oregon, and I'm a full-time caregiver for my mom. When I first started taking care of my mom, I thought I could handle it with no problems. And I have learned something. If I could sum up everything in one word, it would be patience. I cannot tell you how long it takes my mom to get ready to go anywhere or do anything. Whatever time you think you're going to need with a person you're giving care to, double it, triple it, fourple it, because it just is going to be what it's going to be, and you just have to be patient. And I think other than that, everything else will fall much more easily. I have just now realized that I can't be saying to my mom, well, first off, you don't say, well, don't you remember we did this? But also, I'll ask her a question one time, and she'll give me an answer, and then she'll say I didn't ask her, and she'll give me a different answer. So it's just patience and flexibility, mostly patience. That's kind of a tough one for me anyway, because I do tend to put my needs second, and I always hear, oh, you've got to take care of yourself. And I don't really do that. I care for myself by caring for my mom, and we do live together. I should probably mention that. We've lived together for a long time, almost 12 years, but when I first came home, I didn't have any problems with her. In fact, she was still driving and doing a lot of things, but over the years, I started taking over everything. So I'm basically cook, laundress, chauffeur, I do it all. So I am her total caregiver, and she really does need to have somebody with her a lot because she's a fall risk now. So what I do for her is I make her favorite foods, I have her watch her favorite TV shows, I get her books from the library that I think she's gonna like, and I guess most of my joy is, I don't want to sound like a martyr, but really it's keeping her happy. I'm just really lucky. My mom is, well, by the time you see this, she will be 90, and I'm just glad that I still have my mom. What do I find rewarding? The last couple of days I've talked to a couple of friends, long distance. One was on a cross-country trip, just having a great time. And then the same day, a friend of mine who had moved to Texas called to say that they were meeting friends in Utah, and they were going to go to all the national parks. And I had a tinge of, wishing I could be doing these things. But then I thought, they're both orphans, and I still have my mom. So you know what? I win. That's what I find rewarding, that I still can get my mom up in the morning, and I hug her and make her breakfast, and don't tell her I'm telling you this, I call her Your Highness, and I wait on her pretty much hand and foot. And that really is my pleasure. It's everything. I feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing at this time. What I find most challenging is, again, it goes back to patience, trying to be patient with her, and also increasingly getting worried about her. She is a fall risk, and she's constantly forgetting to use her walker, and realizing I can't be with her every minute, and that it's probably not if she falls again, but when she falls again. So that's worrisome. I've started to help her. She can still give herself a shower if I get her in and out. She can still really take care of her personal needs, and that's good. But I know that there's going to come a time when I may need more help. So I'm really glad to know that there are a lot of resources that I can call and hopefully get the help that I need to help take care of her.
Hi there, my name is Bob Hughes, and my wife Barb was diagnosed with a form of dementia, Wernicke's-Korsakoff syndrome, in 2012. At the time of her diagnosis, the doctors said we may have her for 3 to 5 years. We were very fortunate in that we had her almost for an additional 8 years. It was an interesting time in our lives. I will tell you that one of the things that I wish I would have known at the onset of all of this was the changes that she was going to go through. We had been married for we'd been married for 30 years. And when this happens, suddenly this person that you have known so well for so long is a completely different person. At least that's what happened with us. And there would always be glimpses of that person that you fell in love with, that you married so many years ago. And in my opinion, that's about the most cruel part of this disease, is losing that person a little bit at a time. That is one of the things that made me go get some professional help. And I found out that it was called complicated grief. And basically what it is that if a person is taken from you in a car accident, boom, they're gone from your life immediately. But when you lose a little bit every day of that person, that's about one of the cruelest things that can happen to anybody. And I realize I'm not alone in all of that, but just something to think about if you're just beginning that journey. One of the other things that I think is very important for everybody to realize is this is not a one-size-fits-all situation. What happened to me will be completely different, or could be completely different, than what you are going to go through. One of the things people wanted to know is information and sources that helped us down this journey. The Alzheimer's Association is great. I would tell you to get as much information from them as you can. There is a brand new Dementia Resource Center that has just opened in St. Cloud at Centricare. Dr. Pat Zook is the gentleman who's in charge of that. I can also tell you that getting information as far as the professional help that I got, finding out about complicated grief, there is no one pathway for people to walk here when you're dealing with dementia, when you're dealing with a loved one. I wish that I would have had more information about anger and frustration. We were very fortunate in that Barb was able to live at home with me for the 8 years that we had her after her diagnosis. Not the same person, as I had said before, but still we were very fortunate in that she was able to stay at home with me for those 8 years. One of the books that I wish I would have known about was a book called Gone From My Sight. There is a whole series. Barbara Carnes is the author there, Karnes. There's a whole series of books there regarding the passing of people in your lives, but specifically about dementia. And again, I wish I would have known those things to look for. And again, the Alzheimer's Association can help you figure all that part out as well. When it came time for her to be in a healthcare facility, Good Shepherd did a wonderful job. I would highly recommend those people. The staff were absolutely amazing. And I realized that Jody is one of the people at Good Shepherd, and this is no preconceived setup or anything like that. I had a great experience, as did my wife at Good Shepherd. So find those people, they're out there, and get the help that you need. Get the help that you need. One of the things that is really, really important, and I think everybody that has gone through taking care of a loved one with dementia or Alzheimer's, if you will, one of the things that is so important is getting the support that you need. It's going to come from everywhere. If you are not going to church, I would start going to church. You're going to need that family. I would find professional help if you can. Again, I would go to the Alzheimer's Association of Minnesota and North Dakota. Friends are there for you. I had limited support from my family because my kids are like 3 hours away or so. But it is so important, again, that you do reach out and get the support. There are so many great organizations. Another thing that really, really helps, and I don't know how you're going to be able to do this unless you can get respite care maybe to come in for your loved one while you go out and go for a walk. Work out any way that you possibly can. Get rid of that stress in your life because it is a very stressful time. You're not going to even know what it's doing to you as it's happening because you're so wrapped up in taking care of that other person. Totally normal. All of the emotions that you're going to go through, again, totally normal. Find somebody else who is also going through this and share some war stories. It really, really helps. So, a weird question. What kind of a blessing would you take from a diagnosis of dementia with somebody that you absolutely adore? I guess being aware of that, excuse me, I guess being aware of that adoration, being aware of the importance of all of the little things that you do every single day. The sooner that you start appreciating all of that, I think is a really, really good thing. You will never not miss that person, okay? You will never not miss that person. That's just the way that is. I would advise you to also get a couple of books. Norman Vincent Peale. It is called The Healing of Sorrow. That is a wonderful publication if you can find it. It's been out of print for a long time. And also, I would urge you to get more information on the legal issues that you are going to be facing when all of this happens. And why would that possibly be any kind of a blessing? It allows you to focus on something else other than the loss of that loved one. The biggest blessing is that you had, at least for me, is that I had that person in my life for so long. And then knowing that I would not ever, ever change one thing about the life that we had together.